Retsamag, owned and driven by Ricky Collins of St. John. 3 has been scratched. We go to the 4 entry, Burton Abbey, owned by Doug Hildebrand of Fredericton. Tom Belmore driving. Horse 5 is Bear Island Beauty, owned by Gerald Goodine of Bear Island. Joe Barrio, the driver. Horse 6 is Remshag Horton, owned by C. Avery and W. Hubbard and Lucy St. Amour of St. John. Claire McDonald driving. The 7 Lone Water GW, owned by Gordon Collette of Fredericton. Mark Collette does the driving. 6 starters here, folks. Race number 1, down to 6 minutes. 6 minutes to post.
W. Field of 6 to the gate, race 1. Now the starters for the first race in behind the starting gate. We're approaching the top of the stretch for the field of 6. Dynamite Treasure and Tim Mercetti, Beverly Retsamag with Ricky Collins, Burton Abbey and Tom Belmore, Bear Island Beauty with Jill Barrio, Remshag Horton with Claire McDonald, and Lone Water GW with Mark Collett. Here they come. There, off Dynamite Treasure, taking him out of there. That's Beverly Retsamag in between horses. She's racing second, up on the outside, 3 wide. Lone Water GW, and that's Remshag Horton trailing far back off stride. They're by the 8th pole now, driving on up the backstretch. Racing to the quarter, Dynamite Treasure on top a length and a half, and Beverly Retsamag racing a second. Burton Abbey has a third. Lone Water GW's found the rail is a 4th there. Then Bear Island Beauty, and far back out of contention, Remshag Horton. They were by the quarter, 29 3. Driving into the top turn, pacing on top, Dynamite Treasure. He's out now by 2 with Beverly Retsamag second. 3 lengths back to Burton Abbey. She's racing a third. And they swing through the stretch now, driving on to the half. Dynamite Treasure in command. Leads by 3. Beverly Retsamag is second. That is Burton Abbey. Lone Water GW on the move. Following cover, Bear Island Beauty. The half in, 59 3. Round the turn they go, driving to the 5/8 pole. Dynamite Treasure leading by 3. Beverly Retsamag, Burton Abbey, Lone Water GW, Bear Island Beauty. And they're on up the backstretch now, driving to the 3/4 pole. It's still Dynamite Treasure. He's leading by 2.5. Beverly Retsamag second. Burton Abbey, Bear Island Beauties going on to fourth and going on. Lone Water GW fifth. 130 and 2/5 by the 3/4 into the top turn. It is still Dynamite Treasure by 2. Beverly Retzemag racing a second. Bear Island Beauties closing in on the leaders. A good third and coming on as they tip off the top turn now and they swing through the stretch. Heading for home, Dynamite Treasure. Beverly Retzemag, Bear Island Beauty. Dynamite Treasure is going to go coast to coast. He's holding to win this one at the line. Dynamite Treasure, Bear Island Beauty, Beverly Retzemag, Burton Abbey, Lone Water GW still to come. Remshake Horton. Time for the mile, 2:02. Dynamite Treasure reeling off his 4th winning trip this year tonight in 2:02. And the result of the first race now official. Dynamite Treasure, your race winner. Beverly Retzemag was 3rd. Direct Supply scratched. Burton Abbey 4th. Bear Island Beauty 2nd. Remshake Horton 6th. Lone Water GW 5th. Race times a quarter 29 and 3. The half in 59 and 3. 3/4 130. 2/5. And the mile in 2:02.
Ridge Roger, Chester Eatman, the owner and driver. 2 Night Rider C, owned and driven by Mike Downey. 3 entry is James E.B. Sean Shannon drives for owner Norman Burns. Horse 4, Dear by Emma, owned by Paul Dares of St. John, driver Gilles Berriot. The 5 entry, Edward Sealster, owned by Paul Doyle of Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, Vaughn Doyle driving. The 6, Royal Minx, owned by Christopher Davies of St. John, your driver, Brian Moore. 7 is Fern Hill Jill, owned by Fred Paintner with driver Steve Mahar. Horse 8, Corky N, owned by Kevin Peters of North Wiltshire, PEI with driver Ronnie Gass. 8 starters for race number 2, the Brookville Manufacturing Company pace. A cooler presentation to the winner, post time in about 8 minutes.
Now the starters for the second race in behind the gate. Gate is moving and approaching the top of the stretch. We have a field of 8. Quail Ridge Roger and Chester Eatman. Night Rider C with Mike Downey. James E.B. and Sean Shannon. Dear by Emma with Gilles Berriot. Edward Sealster and Vaughn Doyle. Royal Minx and Brian Moore. Fern Hill Jill with Steve Mahar and Corky N. Ronnie Gass. Here they come. There from the outside, Fern Hill Jill quickly grabs the top. Fern Hill Jill the leader, and then Dear by Emma racing a second. Edward Sealster up on the outside. Dear by Emma soft stride scattering the field, and the trailers are all by okay. They're on up the backstretch. That leaves the 2 leaders out by themselves. Moving to the top now, Edward Sealster. Then Fern Hill Jill is racing second. Quail Ridge Roger has a third as they drive on by the opening quarter, and they're by that marker.
30 and 3.
In 30 and 3/5, they drive into the top turn. And it's Edward Sealster in command. Fern Hill Jill has second. Off the top turn, through the stretch now to the half. Edward Sealster still the leader. That's Royal Minx. Charging up on the outside, he's second. Quail Ridge Rogers on the run. Royal Minx gets a nose in front, but he's parked as they go racing out by the half. 103 and 3. Out of the turn for the 5/8. Edward Sealster back on top again. Then Royal Minx outside second. Fernhill Jill as third. Corky N is racing fourth. Night Rider C up on the outside moving fifth. And James E.B. as they drive on up the backstretch racing to the three-quarter pole. It's Edward Sealster in command. Fernhill Jill under a tight range. He's racing second outside of her. Royal Minx still hangs tough. He's back to second again. 34 and 2 by the three-quarter pole. Out of the top turn, Edward Sealster. Fernhill Jill back to second. Royal Minx hanging third. Then Corky N at the rail is fourth. And they're swinging off the top turn now by the 7/8 heading home. And it is Edward Sealster moving away now. Edward Sealster, Fernhill Jill. Royal Minx still there. Corky N to third. At the line, though, it is Edward Sealster. Then Fernhill Jill, Corky N, James E.B., Royal Minx, Night Rider C, Quail Ridge Roger, and Dear by Emma. Time for the mile. 2:05. Gelding, he's 7 years by Totally Ruthless from Englewood, she by Warm Breeze. Owned and trained by Paul Doyle of Charlottetown. Von Doyle driving. Win number 2 this year for Edward Sealster. Winning tonight 2:05. The result of the second race now official. Quail Ridge Roger, 7th. Night Rider C was 6th. James E.B., 4th. Dear by Emma was 8th. Edward Sealster, your race winner. Royal Minx was 5th. Fernhill Jill, 2nd. And Corky N was 3rd. Race times a quarter 30 and 3/5. The half 103 and 3. Three quarters 134 and 2. A mile and 2:05. Checking from the top, your card should read 7648 1523. Mile and 2:05.
Horse number 1, Calavrita Garfield, owned by Paul Dares of St. John, Colleen Clancy driving. The 2-horse, D.G.'s Authority, owned by Wendell Wallace of Alberton PEI, Len McGuigan is the driver. Next is the 3, Oscar de la Hoya, owned by Sandra Foley of Fredericton, Steve Mahar driving. The 4, Milwaukee Iron, owned by Greg Hunt and Mike Campbell, Kenny Arsenal driving. Horse 5 is Casimir Rocket, Ronnie Gass driving for owner David Walls. 6 is Robin Mack, owned by Bob McLeod, Don McNeil up. The 7, Sid Silgirl, owned by Don Bishop of Fredericton, Gilles Barrio in the Sulky, and Horse 8, Hillview Hope, owned by the Hillview Farm. Note the driver change, Rick Armstrong driving. 8 starters here in race number 3. Race 3, the Sunbury Transport Limited Pace, 4 minutes to post.
E.G.'s Authority with Len McGuigan, Oscar de la Hoya, Steve Mahar. Milwaukee Iron, Kenny Arsenault. Casimir Rocket, Ronnie Gass. Robin Mack with Don McNeil. Sid Sill Girl with Jill Barrio. Hillview Hope, Rick Armstrong. Here they come. They're off at Oscar de la Hoya. Stepping out takes the lead, DG's Authority. Racing second. Up on the outside, Casimir Rocket. Driving on the third. They're battling nose to nose for the top. Oscar de la Hoya on the outside. Now moving to the top, DG's Authority. Oscar de la Hoya going on again. He gets it. He is the leader as they go driving to the quarter. Oscar de la Hoya stepping out. He's now on top by 2. He's the leader by the quarter in 30 and 2/5. Driving through the stretch now, coming to the half, Oscar de la Hoya. On top by 2.5, DG's Authority racing second. Milwaukee Iron his third. Up on the outside, Sid Silk Girl is fourth, half 101 and 3. Then they go into the turn now, racing on to the 5/8. Oscar de la Hoya holding his lead. Then racing second, DG's Authority. Milwaukee Iron has a third. Up on the outside, Sid Sill Girl driving on the fourth. Then up the rail, Calvary de Garfield has a fifth. As they drive on to the three-quarter pole, they're by that marker now. The leader there, Oscar de la Hoya, and the three-quarters, 132 and 4, as they go into the top turn. Swinging off the turn now, it is still Oscar de la Hoya. DG's Authority closing in on the leader. But Oscar is going to hold to win this one at the line. It is Oscar de la Hoya, DG's Authority, then Milwaukee Iron, Sid Sill Girl, Calvary de Garfield. Time for the mile, 2:03. Race time, owned and trained by Sandra Foley of Fredericton. Steve Mahar driving. The colt gets his second winning trip this season. Tonight, 2:03. And the result of the third race now official. Calvary de Garfield was fifth. DG's Authority second. Oscar de la Hoya, your race winner. Milwaukee Iron was third. Casimir Rocket sixth. Robin Mack was seventh. Sid Sill Girl fourth. Hillview Hope was eighth. Race times quarter 30 and 2/5. The half 101 and 3. Three-quarters 132 and 4. And the mile in 2:03.
Going for a purse of $8,000. Triactor Quinella win place and show, betting about 6 minutes now to post. The one entry Blue Meadow Ollie, owned by Ralph Frizzell of Charlottetown. Note the driver change, Len McGuigan driving. The 2 West River Jewel, owned by the West River Stock Farm of Antigonish, Nova Scotia. Driver is Ken McDonald. The 3 Dexter's Delight, owned by Terry Osborne of Stewiacke, Nova Scotia. George Renison in the sulky. 4 is PH Happy Cat. Todd Trites drives for owner Trevin Shive. The 5 is Woodmere Maddie, owned by Linda Austin of Sackville, Nova Scotia. Dave Carey driving. Horse 6 has been excused post-parade, but will go. It's Kiermore, owned by Lewis Clark of Sydney Mines, Nova Scotia. Kenny Arsenault in the sulky. 6 starters here in race number 4. It's Atlantic Sire Stakes. 3-year-old pacing fillies. A division, going for a purse of $8,000. We go to post in about 5 minutes.
Blue Meadow Ollie with Len McGuigan, Westover Jewel, Kenny McDonald, Dexter's Delight, George Renison, P.H. Happy Cat and Todd Trites, Woodmere Matty, Dave Carey, Kiermore with Kenny Arsenault. Here they come. They're often rushing to the top. It is Woodmere Matty. She's the leader with P.H. Happy Cat in between horses racing second. Woodmere Matty on the outside is the leader. Is Park, though. P.H. Happy Cat's going out 3 wide, not a second. Winging for the lead as they go racing to the quarter. They're by it. 29 and 2.
Todd's on top now.
Driving through the stretch now, coming to the half. P.H. Happy Cat is the leader.
One is second, Eagle.
Blue Meadow Ollie racing second.
5 is third.
And Woodmere Matty racing third. The half 101 and 3. P.H. Happy leads into the turn as they drive to the 5/8 pole. Still P.H. Happy Cat showing on top as they go up the backstretch, but is being challenged. Looks like
32 and 3.
3/4, 132 and 3.
Who was that was challenging?
P.H. Happy Cat shows on top as they're in deep stretch. And the 3-horse Dexter's Delight in for second. Then Blue Meadow Ollie. Woodmere Matty, time for the mile.
The mile of 2:03.
Mile and 2:03. And parading now, winner of the 4th race, number 4 P.H. Happy Cat, Bay Filly by Happy Family from Goldfinder. She by Ralph Allover. Owned and trained by Dr. Trevin Shive of Elmsdale, Nova Scotia. Todd Trites driving. Filly steps to her 10th winning trip from 15 tries this year. P.H. Happy Cat winning this A division of the Atlantic Sire Stakes for 3-year-old pacing fillies in 2:03.
And hopefully if Lloyd can hear. Night and a lot of mist tonight in St. John. We're with driver Todd Trites, winning with P.H. Happy Cat. She does rebound off of a tougher trip last week. There's no doubt about that. Todd, tell me what you can about conditions here this evening. She was able to get that mile in 2:03, but had to be a bit of a challenge for you.
Yeah, she raced pretty good though. I got roughed up a little bit going to the quarter. I thought I'd get the front a little bit earlier. Dave's horse left a little bit better than maybe I thought it would, but I just kind of got a little breather the third quarter, and the mare raced pretty good. She's a pretty good mare. It was unfortunate what happened last week, but always good to see them bounce back. And maybe didn't have to use her a whole lot next week, and didn't have to use her a whole lot this week, and hopefully that mare made the Atlantic Sires final. She's undefeated in Atlantic Sires, so hats off to Trevor, and he did a good job with her, and just hope she gets a good piece of the final.
I mean, challenge though, as far as the weather goes, probably wishing you had a helmet on there like a miner when you're going up the backstretch tonight.
Oh, without a doubt. I moved my glasses up, I moved them down. I couldn't really find anything that felt real comfortable tonight. If it rained a little harder, you could put a screen on, but no, it is. And it's worse, I guess, if you're in behind. I'd rather be on top for sure nights like tonight, but I guess just about any weather conditions, it's better up front anyway, Chris.
That's true, and congratulations, Todd. Again, another nice job with PH Happy Cat. 10 wins this season through the fog tonight at Exhibition Park Raceway, the first A Division event for the 3-year-old pacing fillies.
Now owned by Brian Morrell, Gilles Barrio driving. Next, a 3 bred handover owned by Bob Bonus, Kensington Prince Edward Island, Steve Mahar driving. The 4, James Mack, Todd Trites drives tonight for owner Donald Kerr of St. John. The 5 is Dusty Davy for owner and driver David Baldwin. 6, WW, owned and driven by Mike Campbell of Fredericton. The 7, Good Dear Good, Ronnie Gass holds the lines for owner Blair Seymour. 8 is Shalimar Sentinel, owned by John McMillan of Hampton, driven this evening by Sean Shannon. Parading at the end of the field is the 1 entry, Swingin' Sue Down, owned by Mark Haig of St. John, Gordy Hennessy driving. 8 starters for the 5th race, race 5, post time in 5 minutes.
Dusty Lane JD, Gilles Barrio, Brett Handover, Steve Mahar, James Mack, Todd Trites, Dusty Davy, Dave Baldwin, WW, Mike Campbell, Good Dear Good, Ronnie Gass, Shalimar Sentinel, Sean Shannon. Here they come. They're off and rushing to the top. It is Brett Handover. He's the leader, but Dusty Lane JD up in between horses, battling for the lead. They're tight in the turn, and they're 4 wide. Swinging around the turn, Swinging Sue Down on top along the rail. They're 3 wide now as they race on by the 8th up the backstretch to the quarter. And on the extreme outside, it is Brett Handover. Now 2 wide, and then Dusty Lane JD racing a second. James Mack is rushing up the quarter, 30 seconds. They go into the top turn. Driving through the stretch now, on to the half, at pacing on top. Brett Handover, James Mack is at his wheel outside. Dusty Lane JD racing a 3rd, Swinging Through Down is 4th. Dusty Davy racing 5th, and they're by the half a minute at 4/5, and around the turn they go. Brett Handover in command. James Mack is racing 2nd, Dusty Lane JD 3rd. On up the backstretch now, driving on to the quarter. Brett Handover holding that lead. James Mack still trying hard 2nd. Dusty Lane JD sitting 3rd in at the rail. Looks for room to move. They're by the 3/4 pole. 1:31 and 3 as they go into the top turn and out of sight for a moment.
Still on top.
Brett Handover still on top. Dusty Lane JD is moving out to challenge now to Brett Handover. Dusty Lane JD, it's going to be Brett Handover, Dusty Lane JD, Swinging Sue Down, then good time for the mile, 2:04. Mary. She by Crafty Shadow. Owned by Bob Bonas of Kensington, Prince Edward Island, trained and driven by Steve Mahar. Win number 6 this year for Brett Handover tonight in 2:04. Dusty Lane, J.D., second. Brett Handover, your race winner. James Mack was 6th. Dusty Davy, 7th. W.W. was 8th. Good, Dear Good was 4th, and Shalimar Sentinel was 5th. Race times, quarter 30 seconds. The half, 1 minute and 4/5. 3/4, 1:31 and 3, and the mile in 2:04. Checking from the top, your card should read 32167845, the mile in 2:04.
Post time in 6 minutes. Number 1, Northwind Zephyr. Kenny Arsenal handles the lines tonight for owners Don and Theodore Bremner. 2 is Derek Jonathan, owned by Romeo Boucher of Moncton, driver Gordy Hennessy. 3 entry is Sammy Down, owned by Milton Downey of St. John, Steve Mason driving. 4 is Towner Ironstone, owned by driven by Brian McPhee for owner Louis McIsaac. 5 is Pans to Reason, owned by Diane Gass of Cornwall, Ronnie Gass aboard. The 6 is Kill Karen Pedler, owned by Janet Shanks and Dot Stevens, Gilles Barrio driving. And horse 7, Spudland Striker, owned by the Briggs Stables, Steve Mahar driving. There's your 7 starters, folks, here for race number 6. Race 6 post time in about 5 minutes.
And Ken Arsenault. Derek Jonathan with Gordon Hennessy. Sammy Down with Steve Mason. Towner Ironstone with Brian McPhee. Pans to Reason, Ronnie Gass. Kilkerran Pedler with Jill Barrio. And Spudland Striker with Steve Mahar. Here they come. Off stride, Towner Ironstone going to the top. In along the rail, it is Northwind Zephyr. Northwind Zephyr pacing with the lead. Pans to Reason is on the outside, challenging second. He's winging for the lead, and Derek Jonathan in along the rail. He is racing third now. Pans to Reason grabs the top. He moves out now by a length. Northwind Zephyr racing second. Derek Jonathan has a third. Spudland Striker racing fourth. That opening quarter in 29 and 2. They swing around the top turn. Pans to Reason still holding his lead by 2. Northwind Zephyr racing second. Derek Jonathan is holding third. And Spudland Strikers racing fourth. They swing on through the stretch, come driving on to the half. Pans to Reason in command by 2. Northwind Zephyr, Derek Jonathan, Spudland Striker, Sammy Down that half in 59 and 4. That is Kilkerran Pedler. They swing around the turn on to the 5/8 pole. Positions unchanged. Pans to Reason, Northwind Zephyr. Derek Jonathan racing a third. He's on the run. On up the back stretch to the 3/4. Pans to Reason. Northwind Zephyr racing second. Then Spudland Striker now third. That's Sammy Down. Up strong on the outside. He goes to third as they go by the 3/4 pole. 1:30. Pans to Reason still the leader. Northwind Zephyr holding second. Sammy Down is third. Spudland Strikers racing fourth.
Sammy Down's up to second on the other side now.
Heading for home.
Sammy Down second. Pans to Reason.
Pans to Reason.
Sammy Down second.
And Sammy Down on for second. Pans to Reason, Sammy Down, Northwind Zephyr at the line. Pans to Reason, Sammy Down, Northwind Zephyr Derek Jonathan and Spudland Striker were close. Then Kilkerran Peddler and Towner Ironstone.
2 minutes, 4/5.
Time for the mile, 2 minutes, 4/5. Horse, he's 5. He's by Cam Fella from Tip and Tax. She by Abercrombie. On by Diane Gass of Cornwall, Prince Edward Island, trained and driven by Ronnie Gass. 3 wins from 4 tries this year for Pans to Reason. Winning tonight, 2 minutes and 4/5. Now the result of the 6th race, now official. Northwind Zephyr was 3rd. Derek Jonathan, 4th. Sammy Down was 2nd. Towner Ironstone, 7th. Pans to Reason, your race winner. Kilkerran Peddler was 6th. Spudland Striker, 5th. Race times, quarter 29 and 2, the half 59 and 4, 3/4 1:30, and the mile in 2 minutes and 4/5. Checking from the top, your card should read 3427165, the mile 2 minutes.
8,000. Number 1, Spittin' Image, owned by Bert Ronahan with driver Danny McDonald. The 2, Rip Roar and Snorton, owned by Brian and Fred Collings with driver David O'Brien. 3, Happy's Misbehavin', owned by Wayne Ivany and Mark Jameson. Rod Jameson does the driving. The 4 is Southern Jewel, owned by John Watkins with driver Ernie Laffin. 5 is Hillview Jenna, owned by Mel Land of Hopewell Cape. Todd Trites driving. The 6th entry, Smiling Wine, Kenny Arsenault the driver for owner Cynthia Cody. And horse 7 is Coconut Supreme, owned by Sterling Mullen, Jason Hughes in the sulky. 7 starters, Atlantic Sires Stakes, 3-year-old pacing fillies. A division going for 8,000, about 5 minutes to post.
It's Danny McDonald, Rip Roar Snorton, Dave O'Brien, Happy's Misbehavin', Rod Jameson, Southern Jewel, Ernest Laffin, Hillview Jenna, Todd Trites, Smilin' Wine with Kenny Arsenault, and Coconut Supreme with Jason Hughes. Here they come. They're often Happy's Misbehavin', going to the top but fighting for the lead and taking it back is Rip Roar and Snorton. Rip Roar and Snorton pacing on top as they dip into the turn. Rip Roar and Snorton, Happy's Misbehavin' a second. That's Hillview Jenna rushing up strong on the outside, 3rd, now to 2nd. And Hillview Jenna goes winging for the lead. They're by the quarter. 30 and 2. Hillview Jenna's off stride, they tell me. Coming to the half, pacing with the lead, Rip Roar and Snorton. Then racing second is Happy's Misbehavin', the half 102. Spittin' Image racing 3rd, the half in 102. 3/4, 132 and 3. Rip Roaring Snorting still on top around the top turn. Happy's Misbehaving second. And in deep stretch, Rip Roaring Snorting. And Happy's Misbehaving is second. Smiling Wide in for third, time for the mile. 2:02.
Just quickly, with the fog, we couldn't see a whole lot. Just tell us how the race shaped up for you.
Well, she got the front, she got things her own way, and wasn't really contested much of the race. And she kind of likes that. She'll be able to spring a good last quarter.
She's only hit the winner's circle twice this year, but she's been very competitive. You've got to be pretty happy to finally get one in the win column.
Oh yeah, she finally deserved to get a win. She raced a lot of good races and just struck the tougher fillies. Tonight she didn't hit the better bunch and she got the job done.
All right, Dave, congratulations. We'll let you get back into the winner's circle and we'll turn it back trackside.
Brown filly, but this cam's for you from Fort Star. She by Nukes Lobel. Albert Bryan and Frederick Collings of Mount Stewart, Prince Edward Island, trained and driven by David O'Brien. Third winning trip this year for Rip Roaring Snorting. Tonight, through the fog in 2:02. Rip Roaring Snorting, your race winner. Happy's Misbehaving was second. Southern Jewel, seventh. Hillview Jenna was fifth. Smiling Wine, third. And Coconut Supreme was fourth. By the quarter, 30 and 2/5. At the half, 1:02. 3/4, 132 and 3. And the mile in 2:02. Checking from the top, your card should read 6127. 534, the mile in 2:02. Now the 8th race, 7 starters.
Leary's Pub. The one entry, Burton Bell, owned by Doug and Ralph Hildebrand with driver Tom Belmore. The 2 entry is Tucson Melody, Milton Downey, the owner, Steve Mason driving. 3 is Clonmel Cami, Todd Trites driving for owners Andrea Dolan and Albert Goodine. The 4 is LFN, owned by Heather Hathaway of Fredericton, driver Gilles Barrio. 5 is Scoot Admiral, Bill Flowers, the owner, Steve Mahar driving. The 6 is Die High for owner and driver Charlie Ross. The 7, Almahurst Cheerful, owned by the Right Wing Holdings of Dartmouth, Kenny Arsenault driving. 7 starters for Race 8, the Fillies and Mares Open, $1,400 the purse, sponsored by O'Leary's Pub, going to post in 5 minutes. Bell, Tom Belmore, Tucson Melody, Steve Mason, Clonmel Cami, Todd Trites, LFN with Gilles Barrio, Scoot Admiral, Steve Mahar, Die High, Charlie Ross, and outside is Almahurst Cheerful, Kenny Arsenault. 7 starters, here they come. They are off, and a good start from post 2. That's Tucson Melody going for the lead up on the inside. As they race into the first turn is Burton Bell. Also is LFN as they race into the turn onto the opening 8th. And on the outside now, that is Tucson Melody on top, Burton Bell, and that's LFN. Up on the outside, rushing on, she gets to second. LFN goes winging for the top, and she takes it now. It's LFN with Tucson Melody second, Burton Bell racing third as they go into the fog past the quarter pole. We can tell you LFN, your leader, 29. By the quarter in 29. It's LFN. Off stride and trailing, we're told, is Die High as they go around the top turn. So they come through the stretch to the half-mile mark, and now it's Tucson Melody back on top. LFN racing second. Racing third is Burton Bell, Clonmel Cami. Then racing 59 and 4 past the half, and it's Scoot Admiral, Die High, and Almahurst Cheerful. was the one off stride as they race into the turn to the 5/8 pole. And up front still and cutting it out, it's Tucson Melody. Tucson Melody, your leader, racing in second is LFN. Right there, third, Burton Bell. She's off the rail to challenge. And up on the outside, fast as a ball, goes Scoot Admiral as they race on to the 3/4 pole now. 3/4 in 1:31. They're into the 3-mile turn for the stretch drive. Once again, they're into the fog and around the turn. Here they come for home. It looks like Tucson Melody still on top. Tucson Melody, LFN, and on the outside, Scoot Admiral. Burton Bell is there, though, but it's Tucson Melody. Then LFN, Burton Bell looks to be third. Then Scoot Admiral, Die High. Clonmel, Cami, somewhere in the fog is Almahurst Cheerful. Time for the mile, 2 minutes and 1/5. Back to the winner circle now. Your unofficial winner of race number 8, Fillies and Mares Open, sponsored by O'Leary's Pub. It's number 2, Tucson Melody, a bay mare, 6 years by Tucson Hanover. Out of Fashion Melody, she by Melvin's Woe. Owned by Milton Downey of St. John, trained by Steve Downey. Steve Mason driving this evening. For Tucson Melody, that's win 14 of the year. Winning this evening through the fog, 2 minutes and 1/5. Congratulations to Tucson Melody. Owner Milton Downey, trainer Steve Downey, and driver Steve Mason. The winner of our Fillies and Mares Open class tonight, sponsored by O'Leary's Pub. Winning in 2 minutes, 1/5. Result of the 8th race, now official. 8th race declared official. Burton Bell, third. Tucson Melody, your race winner. Clonmel Cami, 6th. LFN, 2nd. Scoot Admiral was 4th. Die High, 5th. And Almahurst Cheerful, 7th. Race times, a quarter, 29. Over the half, 59 and 4. 3/4, 1:31. Tucson Melody returning a winner, 2 minutes and 1/5. Dares of St. John, Rick Armstrong driving. 2 is Swift Storm, Kenny Arsenault catch driving tonight for owner Mark Grant. 3 entry, Derek Emerson, owned by Paul Doyle, Vaughn Doyle driving. 4 is Cocan Dream, owned and driven by Charlie Price. 5 is Dexter Down, owned by Milton Downey, Steve Downey driving. 6, Aaron M. Down, owned by Art Craig of Crop OPEI with Gilberto driving. 7, Lonesome Monster, owned by Wayne Bustard of St. Stephen, with driver Steve Mahar in the 8 entry 4x4 for owner and driver Tim Merzetti. 8 starters, 9th race. Race 9 post time, the Parkway Mercury pace in about 4 minutes.
Up second elimination for a purse of $8,000 as El Perfecto, freshly squeezed, Run the Hub, Keystone Lowdown, Raleigh Fingers, and Glenroyden N. Here they come. They're off and pacing at the rail. That's El Perfecto off in search of the early lead. Keystone Lowdown in the center, and driving up on the outside is Raleigh Fingers. They race out of the opening 8th. That is El Perfecto on the inside. Raleigh Fingers intent on having top spot as they move into the backstretch. Raleigh Fingers drives on and will take over. Getting away second on the inside is El Perfecto. Keystone Lowdown grabs a seat third. Run the Hub gets away in 4. Glenroyden N has 5. As they race on past that opening quarter and off stride, treading the field, freshly squeezed, single file as they move on to the 3/8. 27 and 1 was the opening quarter. Raleigh Fingers out front is dictating the pace and leads it by a length. El Perfecto getting a good journey in the pocket second. Closing up that gap is Keystone Lowdown from 3 as they move off the top turn. Then next in line racing 4th, that is Number 3, Run the Hub. And sitting in 5 is Glen Royden as they move past the halfway point. It's Raleigh Fingers, unchallenged on the front end, still there by a length. Following up second is El Perfecto. Keystone Lowdown stays in at the rail third. Then back in 4 for Run the Hub. Fifth and still at the rail is Glen Royden. And back in trailing is Freshly Squeezed. The half in 56 seconds flat. They move on over down the backstretch to 3/4. Raleigh Fingers still the boss by a length. Yet to move out of the pocket. El Perfecto is content to follow along second. Then there's a gap of 3.5, 4 back to Keystone Lowdown. Run the Hub moving up on the outside is now third, followed by Glen Royden. And on the outside fifth, they race on to the 7/8. 1:25 was the 3/4. He's got a shot at the track record, Raleigh Fingers, if he's pressured. And there comes El Perfecto peeking out of the pocket. They move off the top turn. Raleigh Fingers, El Perfecto is still following second. Then into 3 is Run the Hub. Raleigh Fingers, El Perfecto trying to get to him. Raleigh Fingers will prevail. Second is El Perfecto. Run the Hub finishing third.
1:54 3/5 the mile by Raleigh Fingers at Truro Raceway last Sunday afternoon, just nipping the track record by 1/5 of a second. It was held by Kilkerran Ingle since way back in 1993. And Raleigh Fingers has the rail again for tonight's first elimination heat. Keystone Lowdown, one of the horses we just saw, is another that has a shot here this evening.
I think he is an outsider, though, tonight. Raleigh Fingers with a big shot, I think, from the rail post. But again, he's meeting a very tough field. This is a real impressive field of 8 tonight. Should be a good one.
Going to the gate here very shortly with race number 9. We'll send it back upstairs to track announcer Ingham Palmer and Scott Waddell with just a couple of moments before we go to the gate.
Swift Storm, Kenny Arsenault, Dark Emerson, Vaughn Doyle. Cocaine Dream, Charlie Price, Dexter Down, Steve Downey. Aaron M. Down, Jill Berriot, Lonesome Monster with Steve Mahar. From the outside, it's 4x4, Tim Merzetti. 8 starters, here they come. They're off, and quickest off the gate is Dark Emerson. In between horses is Swift Storm. Cam's Magic now grabs the top into the turn. It's Cam's Magic, Swift Storm. Backs off for cover behind the leader. He's racing second. Then racing third early is Dark Emerson as they race on up the backstretch. They race on to the opening quarter, and up front and cutting it out is Cam's Magic with Swift Storm racing in second. That's Dark Emerson. He is racing third. Then it's Cocaine Dream fourth. That's Aaron M. Down up on the outside quickly as they go past the quarter in 30 and 2 as they race into the fog. Now once again the opening quarter 30 and 2. That was Cam's Magic, your leader. As they round the turn and come off the turn and through the stretch, racing onto the half-mile marker. And still on top, Cam's Magic, and that's Aaron M. Down. Up strong on the outside second. On the rail third is Swift Storm with cover 4x4. Dark Emerson is locked in, then Cocaine Dream. After a half, 101 and 1. Then it's Dexter Down and Lonesome Monster as they race into the turn to the 5/8, and it's still Cam's Magic. Aaron M. Down up and at him on the outside, and now Aaron M. Down grabs the top. Aaron M. Down moving out now. Cam's Magic. That's 4x4 up on the outside quickly. He's racing on to second. He's giving Aaron M. Down a chase as they pass the 3/4. 3/4, 1:31 and 1 as they race into the fog. It was Aaron M. Down with 4x4 at his wheel driving second as they're into the fog and they head for the turn for the stretch drive. Off the turn, and here they come down the stretch. Aaron M. Down, he's clear with 4x4, and on the outside here comes Cocaine Dream, but it's Aaron M. Down, Cocaine Dream 4x4. It's Aaron M. Down, then Cocaine Dream 4x4, and in for fourth was Dexter Down. Time for the mile. 2:02 and 3. He's a bay gelding, now 6 years, by Knightley Blue Chip. Out of Loy Down, she by Genghis Khan. Owned by our Craig of Croppo, PEI, trained by Doug Falcon's Gilles Berriot catch driving this evening. For Aaron M. Down, that's win 5 of 1999. He wins tonight, 2:02 and 3. And on hand from Parkway Mercury is Brian Carter to help with the draping of the blanket, symbolic of the race here in name of Parkway Mercury. So once again, congratulations to Aaron M. Down, owner Art Craig, and trainer Doug Falcons, driver Gilles Berriot. Aaron M. Down takes our 9th race in 2:02 and 3.
$1,600. This race sponsored by Lift Parts Atlantic. 7 starters in our 10th race. Starters parading now. Number 1 is Mr. Rude, owned by Sandra Foley of Fredericton. The driver is Steve Mahar. 2 is Alfred, owned by Ken Fram of Steve's Mountain. Todd Treitz in the sulky. Number 3, Paris Reflection, owned by David Lund of Moncton. Driver is Gilles Berriot. 4 is Happy Family, owned by Dr. James Shive of Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. Trevin Shive driving. 5 is Mysterious Ways, owned by Brian Sterling of St. John. Driver is Brian Moore. 6 is Canico Nassa, owned by Frank Dunphy of Noonan, New Brunswick. Catch driven this evening by Denny St. Pierre. Number 7, Free-Legged Pacer, The Final Bret, owned by Joyce Boucher of Moncton and Edmund Gagnon of Robichaud. Driver Gordy Hennessy. 7 starters. This is the 10th race, sponsored by Lift Parts Atlantic. $1,600 is the purse. We'll go to post in about 4 minutes. Race, Mr. Rude with Steve Mahar. Alfred, Todd Treitz. Paris Reflection with Gilles Berriot. Happy Family and Trevin Shive. Mysterious Ways with Brian Moore. Canico Nassa. Denny St. Pierre. From the outside, The Final Bret, Gordy Hennessy. 7 starters for the 10th race. Here they come. They're off and pacing from post 2. Alfred racing for the top. Mr. Rude to the inside, ducking to the rail third quickly is Paris Reflection. Happy Family gets away fourth. Mysterious Ways, The Final Bret. The trailer is Canico Nassa. They make their way around the turn, heading up the backstretch on top. Mr. Rude. Alfred backs off, finds the pocket, racing second. Paris Reflection third, then Happy Family racing fourth. Mysterious Ways, The Final Bret. Canico Nassa is your trailer. Opening quarter belongs to Mr. Rude. Racing second is Alfred. They race into the fog in the opening frame in 29 seconds. Your leader at the quarter was Mr. Rude. Alfred a close second as they make their way through the thick fog and around the turn. The 3/8 they are now racing for the half and cutting it out. It's Steve Mahar and Mr. Rude. Alfred still up tight second. Now moving first over. On the outside comes Mysterious Ways. Paris Reflection has fourth. The Final Bret racing fifth. Then it's Happy Family getting caught in, and the trailer but moving is Canico Nassa. The half in 59 and 3, and they drive into the turn heading to the 5/8. It's still Mr. Rude driving up second on the outside. Mysterious Ways, Alfred on the rail racing third. Paris Reflection fourth. The Final Bret has cover fifth on the outside. Then it's Happy Family, Canico Nassa racing by the 3/4 though. It's still Mr. Rude. He's the one to beat. Alfred still sitting in the second. 3/4 2-minute speed. 1:29 and 3, and they're into the fog once again. Making their way towards the 7/8. Your leader at the 3/4 marker was Mr. Rude, and he's your leader through the stretch, racing for home. It is Mr. Rude, Alfred, men on the outside. Paris Reflection, a strong closing drive. At the line, though, Mr. Rude will win it. Then Paris Reflection and Alfred up for fourth. Happy Family. And the time for the mile, 1:59 and 1. The winner's enclosure now, winner of race number 10, the Lift Parts Atlantic Pace. It's number 1, Mr. Rude. Bay gelding 8 years by Baum Rickles out of Peace on Earth, she by Nero. Owned and trained by Fredericton's Sandra Foley. Steve Mahar is the driver. 4th winning trip of the season for Mr. Rude, pacing this evening through the fog in 1:59 and 1. Congratulations to Mr. Rude, owner, trainer Sandra Foley, and driver Steve Mahar, winning tonight's 10th race. Sponsored by Lift Parts Atlantic. Mr. Rude this evening in 1:59 and 1. Race winner Alfred third. Paris Reflection second. Happy Family was fourth. Mysterious Ways fifth. Kanako Nasa sixth. The final Brett was seventh. Race times: quarter 29, half 59 and 3. 3/4 129 and 3. Mr. Rude, your winner, 159 and 1. Card should read from the top down: 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mile 159 and 1. Race 11 next, an A division of the Atlantic Sire Stakes for 3-year-old pacing fillies. 6 starters. It's next. Purse is $8,000. Post time in about 11 minutes.
Here's the purse. 5 minutes to post. Number 1, Revealing, owned by Phil and Milt Jenkins of Charlottetown. Ron Matheson driving. The 2 entry, Island Tradition, owned by Maura Kerr and Claire McDonald of Antigonish. Claire McDonald driving. 3, Glengyle Marge, owned by Jim McGregor. Kenny Arsenault, the driver. 4, Woodmere Droplet. Jill Berrio drives for owner Reg Weatherby of Moncton. 5 is EJ's Pride, owned by Judy Gooday with driver Ernie Laffin. The 6 is Woodmere Topper, owned by Dave Ratchford. Dave does the driving. 6 starters here in race 11. This is our final heat in the Atlantic Sire Stakes for 3-year-old pacing fillies. They go for $8,000. Post time scheduled in about 4 minutes. Island Tradition, Claire McDonald. Glengyle Marge, Kenny Arsenault. Woodmere Droplet, Jill Berrio. EJ's Pride with Ernie Laffin. Outside, Woodmere Topper, Dave Ratchford. 6 starters, top of the stretch. Here they come. They're off, and Glengyle Marge rushes forward, grabs the early lead. Up on the inside is Island Tradition as they race into the turn. It's Island Tradition on top with Glengyle Marge. Up on the outside, racing second as they go to the 8th pole, neck and neck for the top. It's Island Tradition. Glengyle Marge is racing second as she settles for cover behind the leader now. Racing in second, Revealing has third on the rail. Then it's Woodmere Topper, Woodmere Droplet, and your early trailer is EJ's Pride as they race by the quarter. In 30 seconds, it's Island Tradition. She was your leader with Glengyle Marge racing in second. Then racing in third is still Revealing, then Woodmere Topper. Racing fourth are still single file, then it's Woodmere Droplet, and your trailer is EJ's Pride as they come off the turn and through the stretch. Here they come, racing to the half-mile marker. Island Tradition, your leader. Here comes Glengyle Marge out to challenge from second. With cover is Woodmere Topper. Revealing on the inside by the half in 102 and 4. Then it's Woodmere Droplet on the outside, 5th, and EJ's Pride is your trailer. The field starts to bunch up. Once again, the half was 102 and 4 as they race past the 5/8 on up the backstretch to the 3/4. They're neck and neck. Island Tradition, Glengyle Marge, they are stride for stride, neck and neck going to the 3/4 pole. On the inside is Island Tradition, Glengyle Marge, they're still neck and neck as they round the turn. Racing up third on the outside is Woodmere Topper. They're still neck and neck. Island Tradition, though, still showing on top as they come off the turn for home. Island Tradition, Glengyle Marge is coming to her, though. Island Tradition inside, Glengyle Marge outside, and it's now Glengyle Marge, Island Tradition, then Woodmere Topper in for third, Revealing, then EJ's Pride and Woodmere Droplet. Time for the mile. 2 minutes and 4/5. Jesus Christ. Last half in 58 seconds.
Condition, now we know she likes the fog as well, Kenny. Tell me about how she felt coming into the race and how things worked out for you.
Well, she felt real good. This filly's been super the last 6 weeks. The Grouch has got her real good. Fog, didn't seem to mind it tonight.
Not at all, and you had to move early to get out there and challenge. She seemed to gain confidence as she drew up alongside another very good filly.
Well, I couldn't take a chance of horse getting beside me and clear back off and just sprint down the stretch and like she would have sprinted me, Because this filly can go at high speed if it's a long piece. So I decided I might as well get out and see what happens down the backstretch.
Another terrific trip. Congratulations on the 6th win in a row.
Thank you.
It's Kenny Arsenault with Glengyle Marge, owned and trained by James Roach McGregor. Yet another win in Atlantic Sires competition. We'll send it back upstairs to track announcer Andrew Cromwell.
Pretty now is your official winner now of race number 11. It's number 3, Glengyle Marge, a Bay filly. She's 3 years by Arcane Hanover. Out of Carabel Hanover, she by Walton Hanover. Owned by James McGregor of Winslow PEI. Jim does the training. Kenny Arsenault driving for Glengyle Marge. That's win 7 of 12 starts this year. Puts her bankroll almost to $45,000 this year. Glengyle Marge going a super trip. Parked her last half on the outside in 58 seconds, coming a last quarter in 28-1 to capture our 11th race Atlantic Sire Stakes for 3-year-old pacing fillies. A super trip by the 3-entry Glengyle Marge, returning a winner for Kenny Arsenault and owner and trainer James McGregor, 2 minutes and 4/5. Second, Glengyle Marge, your race winner. Woodmere Droplet 6th. EJ's Pride 5th, and Woodmere Topper 3rd. Race times, a quarter 30 seconds, over the half 1:02 and 4. 3/4 1:32 and 3. Glengyle Marge getting up in the final strides to win 2 minutes and 4/5. Once again, your card should read top down 4-2-1-6-5-3. A mile, 2 minutes and 4/5. Up next, folks, we have 8 starters. Our number 1 entry is Raleigh Fingers, the recent track record holder at Truro, owned by the Solitude Stable of Woodbridge, Ontario. He's owned, or trained and driven rather, by Bill Sharp. Number 1, Raleigh Fingers, Bill Sharp. The 2 entry is Magic Shoes, the 6-year-old beach towel coming in from Montreal, winner of his last 4 starts, his most recent trip, a mile and 1:53 flat, his last start out in Montreal. A warm welcome to the 2 entry, Denny St. Pierre, the Hillsborough Stables, Magic Shoes. Horse 3, You're the Man GB. Owned by Dr. Ian Moore of Winslow, Prince Edward Island, and Jerome Hayward of Bedford, Nova Scotia. Trained and driven by Dr. Ian Moore, You're the Man GB. Our 4 entry, Bonart, owned by Paul and Andrew Rogerson of Westville, Nova Scotia, trained and driven by Paul Rogerson. Winner a couple weeks back of the Papermaker Invitational at Old Home Week in Charlottetown. Horse number 4, Bonart, Paul Rogerson. Next is the 5 entry, Corey's Big Guy, owned by K.R. Aberdeen, Gregory Peck, trained by Greg Peck, Gilles Berriot catch driving. This fellow winner of trial number 2 at Charlottetown in 54 and 3. Tonight's driver, Gilles Berriot, handles Corey's Big Guy. The 6th entry, Keystone Lowdown, owned by Adriano Perizotto and Michael Noble, trained by Mike McDonald. Mike handing the lines to brother Danny this evening. Danny McDonald, the driver, on horse 6, Keystone Lowdown. Next is horse 7, Not Enough Funds, owned by Neil Mose of Cornwall, Prince Edward Island. Neil, the trainer. Len McGuigan gets the drive tonight on horse 7, Not Enough Funds. Our 8 entry tonight, those of you on the Maritime Teletrack Network are familiar with this fella. A couple of weeks back, the big trip at Charlottetown, the winner of the Gold Cup and Saucer for 1999, owned by Jim Smith of Ontario, trained by Ian Reed. John Holmes in the sulky on the number 8 entry, Order to Go. Those are the starters, folks. In Provincial Cup Trial 1, we have 8 starters. Post time in about 5 minutes. For Provincial Cup Trial 1 with Raleigh Fingers and Bill Sharp, Magic Shoes, Dennis St. Pierre, You're the Man GB, and more. Bonart, Paul Rogerson, Corey's Big Guy with Gilles Barriot, Keystone Lowdown. Danny McDonald, Not Enough Funds with Len McGuigan. Outside, Order to Go, John Holmes, 8 starters, here they come. They're off, and quickest off the gate from post 2 is Magic Shoes. Up on the outside is Corey's Big Guy. Up on the inside, though, is Raleigh Fingers as they race into the turn onto the opening 8th and up front. And cutting it out, Raleigh Fingers up on the outside, but backing off for cover now is Corey's Big Guy as they race onto the opening quarter. Raleigh Fingers now moves out by about 3 lengths. Corey's Big Guy is racing second as they pass the opening quarter with Raleigh Fingers on top. By the opening quarter in 28 seconds flat it was. Into the fog, Raleigh Fingers after a quick quarter. In 28 seconds, the inquiry sign has been posted. Looking at the breaking horse into the first turn as they come off the turn and through the stretch. Here they come, racing to the half and out by about 3 lengths still. It's Raleigh Fingers racing in second. Now it's Magic Shoes, Corey's Big Guy third. Then racing in fourth is Order to Go. Up on the outside is Not Enough Funds. By the half through the fog, 58-1 as they race into the turn to the 5/8. It's still Raleigh Fingers. Magic Shoes is second. Racing in third. Up the back stretch is Corey's Big Guy, and he's out from third now to challenge as they go on up the back stretch to the 3/4. It is still Raleigh Fingers. He leads by about 2 lengths. Racing still in second, Magic Shoes, Corey's Big Guy, up on the outside. He's on the outside now to second. 3/4 27-2 as they round the turn through the fog for the stretch drive, and it's still Raleigh Fingers. As they come down the stretch, it's Raleigh Fingers, Corey's Big Guy, Magic Shoes. Down to the wire, it's Raleigh Fingers, Magic Shoes, and Corey's Big Guy were tight. Then in for fourth was Order to Go. Bonart was fifth rather, in the time for the mile. 1:56-1. Place photo has been called here between horses 2 and 5. Place photo between horses 2 and 5. Again, the inquiry sign is up, looking at the breaking horse into the first turn. Also the photo sign between horses 2 and 5 for place. Hold all tickets, please, until the official result has been given.
In Provincial Cup Trial 1, 156-1. I'm here now with Bill Sharp. Bill, I guess things went pretty much as planned there.
Yeah, well, the rail helped big time today.
You were able to control it down to the half, 58-1. Nobody coming at you. You had to feel pretty confident at that point.
Yeah, he felt good. He was strong the whole mile tonight.
Let's go back a little bit to Truro. The horse had to race 2 heats. He was very impressive, winning the first elimination in Truro Raceway in 54-3. That was a track record. Came back in the final, was just beaten. How did he perform over the 2 heats? And give us your thoughts now, not having to go 2 heats in the same night here.
Well, he raced well at Truro, but I wouldn't do it again. I kind of felt sorry for him after. He was tired.
So obviously you think he'll benefit from this, and he was very sharp again tonight, similar to the way he raced in that elimination last week. Pretty confident coming into the final next week?
Yeah, well, they'll all benefit from the single dash.
All right, Bill, congratulations. Making his way back into the winner's circle. Tonight's first trial qualifier, and the winner, and that is Raleigh Fingers for Bill Sharp, 156-1. An excellent trip tonight here at Exhibition Park Raceway. Let's turn it back up to the track announcer for the Winner's Circle presentation.
And as Greg Blanchard said, an excellent trip here tonight by Raleigh Fingers through the foggy conditions. Raleigh Fingers taking our Provincial Cup Trial number 1. He's a brown horse, 6 years, by Albert out of the dam Raleigh Blue Chip. She by Cam Fella, owned by the Solitude Stable of Woodbridge, Ontario. Trained and driven by Bill Sharp. An excellent trip tonight, winning in 156-1 through the fog. We look forward to seeing Raleigh Fingers back next week in the final of the Provincial Cup. And once again, congratulations to the owners, the Solitude Stable, and trainer and driver Bill Sharp. A great trip tonight. Raleigh Fingers, a winner through these conditions, 156-1. Congratulations on a super trip, and we look forward to seeing you back next week. Fingers, your race winner. Magic Shoes, dead heating for 2nd. You're the Man GB, 7th. Bonnert was 5th. Corey's Big Guy, dead heating for 2nd. Keystone Lowdown, 6th. Not Enough Funds, 8th. In order to go, finishing 4th. Race times, they were at the quarter, 28 seconds. Over the half, 58-1. 3/4, 127-2. Raleigh Fingers, winner of Trial 1, 156-1. Once again, with the dead heat, there will be 2 Quinelopes, 1 and 2, and 1 and 5, and your triactors 1, 2, 5, 1, 5, 2. Once again, your card should read from the top here in race number 12, 1, dead heat 2, 7, 5, dead heat 2, 6, 8, 4, the mile, 156-1. Your feature pays, your triactor 125 combination returns you $9.40. Triactor 152, $10.50, and the Quinella 1 and 2, $3.10. And the other Quinella 1 and 5 combination returns $2.80. So out of Provincial Cup Trial 1, the qualifiers for the final are Raleigh Fingers, Magic Shoes, Corey's Big Guy, and Order to Go. Those 4 will be back next week, 1 week from today, for a Provincial Cup final, going in excess of over $55,000. That concludes our harness racing card, folks.